In this film, we are going to deal with the second method, tunneling. When you are faced with a collapse like this, it is very difficult to visualize a successful rescue of trapped persons. But there are different ways of gaining access to such a mass of debris. All operations which aim at penetrating debris to release trapped persons are referred to generally as tunneling. Tunnels can be classified roughly as shafts sunk through the subsoil or debris, and headings which can also be driven through either the subsoil or debris. Shafts and headings are used separately or together according to the plan of rescue, but for the moment we are going to concentrate on the method of building a heading. This is the training ground at a Civil Defence Reserve unit. This mass of rubble represents the collapse that might be caused by a typical bomb hit, and a heading will be driven into it by a rescue party. We will assume that the leader has made his reconnaissance and decided on a course of action.
2, 4, 5 to the heading, 6 and 9 prepare the frames, 8 and 10 sideboards and heading boards, number 7 stand by to assist the driver with equipment.
Like all rescue work, successful tunneling depends on speed, and speed depends on efficiency. Except for the leader, the members of the party are interchangeable and can do any of the jobs needed. The first step in driving a heading is to clear away all rubble lying free of the main debris. This must be done carefully without shifting the mass. Debris is very unstable, and the least weight may cause further collapse. For this reason, walking on it must be avoided, and the rubble, as it is removed, must be dumped well away from the incident.
Now the first old plate down there.
The first frame will be placed clear of the debris as soon as all loose rubble has been moved. It is already being prepared with timber collected from the incident. The sections are being cut to sizes that will give a tunnel width of not less than 2 feet 6 inches and a height of not less than 3 feet. In general, all timber needed for the heading should be obtained from the actual site. Before the frame is put in position, any loose bricks and dangerous bits of debris are removed and the ground is cleared. The sole plate is now laid down. It is clear of the debris and any convenient length of timber can be used. The spacing piece or spreader is cut to the correct width of the frame. The uprights are the side trees, and the head tree, which also has a spreader, is placed across them. This frame has nothing to support it and must be nailed together.
Up a bit, Johnny. Up a bit. Hold it. Right.
To hold it upright, the frame is supported by 2 struts known as rakers. These are nailed to the side trees in any convenient position. This completes the first frame, which consists of a sole plate with spacing piece or spreader, head tree and side trees, and which is supported by struts or rakers. On soft ground, the rakers will have to be held by pegs such as you see here. Next, you put in another frame, this time close to the base of the debris. Here, the sole plate is cut to the required width and the spreader is already nailed to it. This is known as the temporary frame. It supports the headboards, which are laid across the two frames and rest on the debris. They are weighted with bricks to hold them firm. Headboards and sideboards, which are being cut in the meantime, are normally between 3 feet and 3 feet 6 inches long, but those for the first frame must be long enough to reach into the debris.
Chisel, Jack.
The sideboards go in alternately, first on one side and then on the other. As the boarding becomes more and more complete, bricks and rubble are packed round the tunnel to hold it firm. You must be careful to get even pressure on both sides or the tunnel will be pushed out of true. When the tunnel is completely boarded in, you can go on into the debris. As rubble is cleared out from the face, the sideboards are driven home as far as they will go. The shovel is being used to keep the boards straight as they are driven in. Here is the heading again. First frame with headboards and sideboards supported by the temporary frame. This is about 18 inches in front of the first frame and the next permanent frame will be the same distance beyond it. These first two frames, which stood clear of the debris, could be made to a fixed size, but now that you are in under the debris, the tunnel may vary in size from frame to frame. So measurements must be taken for each subsequent frame. Two sticks used like this make a good way of measuring.
Two side trees 5.5 shorter than this.
The measurement was taken for the full height of the tunnel and you must allow for the head tree to go in. In all frames after the first, a packing piece is put behind the side trees. In due course, this will provide a gap for the sideboards to pass through. In the meantime, the head tree for this frame is being made up. This differs from the head trees of the first frame and all temporary frames by the fact that it is double. It is made up with a spreader and with blocks to separate the two trees. Before the head tree goes in, a stay is used to keep the side trees upright. The made-up head tree slides in above the side trees. And here is the first stage of the heading completed. First frame, temporary frame and second permanent frame with double head tree. The double head tree makes the second frame taller than the first, and the headboards will slope upwards between the two frames. The temporary frame is halfway between them, so its height must be halfway between theirs. Now the job proceeds. The leader changes his men over to prevent them getting tired. With the second permanent frame in position, the temporary frame no longer serves any purpose and can be taken out. The headboards are put in next. These go through the double head tree and are lodged in position until more debris is cleared from the head, when they can be driven forwards. After the headboards, the sideboards are put in, again being lodged in position and later driven in alternately on each side. Here you can see the purpose of the packing piece. The sideboards are driven behind the side trees and into the gap provided by the packing piece, which is gradually pushed out as the boards slip behind the side tree. And here is the heading with the two permanent frames and another temporary frame in position. The complete heading, under whatever circumstances it is constructed, is a repetition of the first stage, and you can see now how the double head tree helps to keep it the same size throughout. Driving a heading is a highly skilled job, taking a relatively long time. It will be obvious, therefore, that before tunnelling can be carried out, the approximate position of the trapped casualties must be known. To effect a rescue, the tunnel must be constructed as quickly as possible, but haste in the making of it may mean risk to personnel or even collapse of the tunnel and failure of the rescue. The best way of saving time is to make full use of voids in the debris and tunnel between them. Many special problems are bound to arise during the construction of the heading. Debris varies according to the type of building that has been demolished, and you often come up against such things as boilers, pianos, or large sections of masonry.
Bert, will you come and have a look at this?
When any such obstacle is encountered, the first step is to find out its size and nature. Naturally, no course of action can be taken until these are known.
We have to go around here. We'll put another frame in here, take this one out, go across the corner and back round straight again.
I see, okay.
To cut through this would have meant using an acetylene cutter, which is a slow job owing to the precautions which have to be taken. It's obviously quicker and just as effective to tunnel round such an obstacle. Sometimes the tunnel would deviate over or under the obstacle, but whatever course is taken, the main point is to keep the corners as flat as possible, so that withdrawal of the casualty through the tunnel is not made unduly difficult. Some obstacles can be made good use of in building the heading. If the obstruction is caused by a piece of furniture which is still intact, it is obviously supporting the debris above it, and if it is made part of the heading, a good deal of work will be saved. Here, the tunnel is blocked by what looks like a sideboard, and one of the panels is being cut out. This will leave the frame of the sideboard to form part of the heading. Naturally, the contents of cupboards must influence the decision to go through or round them, and in some cases, additional support will have to be given when shelves or drawers are removed. Here is a section of tunnel in which several feet of timbering have been saved by going through a cupboard. Brick walls are other obstructions that frequently have to be dealt with. A final frame is put in up against the wall before the breach is made. Where you find a void on the other side of the wall, you need only make the breach large enough to permit easy passage. If, however, there is more debris beyond the wall, the tunnel will have to be carried through it in the normal way. These are only examples of the sort of problems you will come up against, and you will see how impossible it is to lay down definite rules for everything you may have to do. The success of any rescue must depend on the good judgment of the leader and the skill and initiative of each member of the party. Remember that whatever job you are doing, your ability to handle tools correctly and to carry out instructions intelligently will affect the efficiency of the whole party. Well, there you are. That gives you a general conception of what you're up against. But don't get the idea that this film has taught you all you need to know about tunnelling, because it hasn't. You must follow this up with practical training so that when the need arises, you will have a clear idea of what to do.